Well, good morning or good afternoon, DCL podcast fans. How you doing today, Christy?
I am well. How are you? I mean, it's morning where you are, so it's fine.
It is morning, and it looks like it's a nice day where you are because you get some bright light behind you coming in the windows.
It is absolute gorgeousness here in Central Florida today.
Cool. So we are going to kick off a new show. One of the things when we started this podcast was to get a lot of information out to people as far as like how to cruise smartly. So we've done that by bringing guests on and kind of talked about their experiences on Disney Cruise Line, and with you being a travel agent, being able to give out the information that you've had and then passing along our experiences as well. But the one thing that I never really wanted to do necessarily was get into breaking news percent, because your job doesn't allow it and neither does mine.
Right. And you always used to say, we're not a news show. We're not a news show. Well, guess what, people?
Well, I was listening to another podcast, and to be completely honest, if you want breaking news, the best place to go to is Scott Sanders, the DCL Cruise Line blog website. He keeps up with all the news and whatnot. But I was listening to another podcast, and they were giving out basically DVC news, and I really love the job that Shannon and Pete and Josh over there at the DVC News podcast. Now I can't even remember if I'm saying it right, but I love the show that they're doing. And I started realizing, man, there's a lot of Disney Cruise Line news that comes out over the course of a month. And to be honest, the ships aren't even sailing, are they?
No, they aren't. And let's just give a little note to our listeners that we are not editing. We are going live. We are live on Facebook, and then we will put this live on the feed. So we may stumble over our words a little more than normal, and we may mess up the name of a podcast that we love and listen to, but we're not editing it. So you're going to get us like you get us. And of course, there's construction going on outside my window. So apparently you're going to get that today too.
Okay. So what is this show going to be? It's going to be a monthly at least. Could be bi-weekly or a weekly update, depending upon how our schedule sort of goes. But we're going to commit to monthly, at least for right now, and potentially even sooner. Right now, it's just Christy and I, but Chris will be part of it. And sometimes it may be just Chris or just you, Christy, or all three of us or whatever else. So, but at the very least, by the end of the month, we want to kind of go over some of the headlines that touch Disney Cruise Line and the cruising industry, possibly in general.
Right.
So the other thing and then we've also got the Coffee at the Cove show, which I think that there's a lot of rumors that sometime in March here, we should be seeing the summer 2022 sailings. And we'll use that show as kind of, like sitting around talking about, hey, what are the new offerings? What do we want to do? When are the dates to book? So once those come out, watch for a live Coffee at the Cove show, hopefully with all three of us on that to do that show as well. But before we jump into it, we've got some exciting news, and that is that Christy's travel agency, that she's an independent agent that she works for, Just Cruises and Vacations. They are a Disney earmarked agency, and they have they've partnered with us to help pay for, well, not pay. Every booking that comes through Christy, a small portion of it will come back to the show. So that will be a way for you to support the show if you don't have a travel agent. Christy's been in the travel agents business now for how long?
Sorry. 10 years.
10 years. So a lot of sailings, a lot of travel, and, kind of in your back, be able to help them out. So, and why don't you kind of go over it? Because you are a fee-free travel agent, right, Christy?
Yes. And so what that means is that if you are booking a package or you're booking a cruise or a Walt Disney World vacation, you will not pay extra. You will pay what you would pay for Disney to book your vacation for you. But the beauty of it is you don't have to call an 800 number. You don't have to sit on hold. I sit on hold for you. I can handle your booking aspect. You can still make your dining reservations or your Palo reservations. Steve just made his Palo reservation the other night for his Alaska cruise. That, let's be honest, we'll talk about that soon. But you can still do all that, but I'll just handle the back end stuff, answer all your questions, and it is no extra cost to you. And I always try to say it's like no harm to you. It doesn't really hurt you. And I can still pick this. You can tell me this is the stateroom I want, and I will go and get it for you.
Yeah. And so if you don't have a travel agent and you would like to work with a travel agent and you want to help support the show, you can book through Christy. I'm going to be completely honest. We've got a hometown travel agent that we booked our very first cruise with. That's who we book the majority of our trips and stuff with. She helps support the schools in our local she helps support our local schools in the community and everything like that. So I love helping her. She's a huge part of our community. So that's why we've kept our business with her. But we have booked some trips with you. Well, you booked a room for us, and you have booked a cruise too.
Yeah. And the reality is I'm not trying to take away your travel agent.
No.
So if you have a relationship with somebody, we are perfectly supportive of that here. But I just had somebody that said they didn't enjoy the Costco experience. And so they're switching from Costco as their travel agent to use my services. And they are a podcast listener. We've actually had quite a few podcast listeners coming out and booking lately. We're really appreciative of that. And I just want to thank you very much.
Definitely. Okay, so enough of that. But just know that if you want to help support the show and you're looking for a travel agent, you can book through Christy in a small portion, which is not once again, she's a fee-free travel agent. You're going to get the same prices as if you book through Disney. So it's actually her company, Just Cruises and Vacations, which will give a small portion back to our show. Well, let's jump into the news. There's actually been a lot of news over the course of February. I know that we're into March, but we're kind of looking back in February. And we'll start off with the fact that Disney Cruise Line canceled select sailings up through August. So that sounds kind of scary. Not all of them through August, but we'll see where it kind of goes from there. But all sailings through May of 2021 have been canceled. So on all 4 ships. DCL made this decision as they await for further guidance from the CDC. And they are anticipating, as I think all the cruise lines are, that international borders are going to be remain closed through the summer. Now, some are actually opening. We just saw that Odyssey of the Seas will be sailing out of Haifa, Israel, and they're going to be going to Greece on their sailings in the summer. So there are some countries who are opening up their borders to certain nationalities to be able to cruise through them. But I think, as far as Disney goes, they're kind of anticipating that international borders are going to be closed. And really the sailings through August really affect the Disney Magic, which they have been canceled over in Europe through August 10th of 2021. I think that leaves just 2 sailings in August right now that are still left on the Magic. Any thoughts there, Christy?
I have clients that are, I think, sailing the 11th. And so they're like, what's going to happen? And they're leaving it out there for now, and they'll wait and see. They might move it when the new sailings come out if Disney hasn't canceled those yet. So it's always sad, though, when there's more cancellations. I mean, it's good for people to know, right? Like, you want to know that in July, you're not going on your amazing Greek cruise again. You want to know that so that you can plan for something different.
Definitely. And we'll kind of turn to the Wonder. Canada has said that they've extended their cruise ship ban through 2022. I know there's some rumblings about, trying to get some Alaskan sailings going. There is a senator, I believe, or a congressman who's trying to get, the ships to be able to sail up through Alaska without and I forget like I said, this is live, so
it's like
I don't have
cruise passenger something act.
Yeah,
so people call it the Jones Act, but it's not really the Jones Act. It's some other act, cruise passenger, blah, blah, blah. But basically says that you have to go to a foreign port if you leave on a cruise from the United States. Or you have to be based in the United States. Like the Pride of America in Hawaii is based in the United States, but that means they have to comply with all of our laws regarding the number of hours worked or overtime or things of that nature. So most cruise lines base their cruises in a foreign port. And in order to do that, or a foreign country rather, like the Bahamas, or some of them are in Malta, things like that. So in order to get past the taxes element, they have to stop at a foreign port. So there is some discussion still. Royal Caribbean has come out, I believe, and said, and Norwegian for sure has come out and said, we are not canceling Alaska yet until we've for sure worked out if there's anything we can do about this cruise passenger, blah, blah, blah act. And so there's maybe hope.
I think the thing, and I saw this on Twitter that somebody commented, and that I think the thing that they're kind of putting the cart before the horse. They can get that pass, but until the CDC lets the ship start sailing, then obviously, they got to get that. They got to go over that hump first. Details. I will say that Princess Cruise Lines, they announced that, I'm not sure if they canceled their cruises, but they are going to keep they've got a lodge up in Denali, and they help run the trains through the Alaskan Railroad up there. So if you want to do an Alaskan vacation through Princess, you can actually still do that without minus the cruise portion, kind of doing a land package through there. I have not looked at any of the packages. We're not going to try and get into all the different cruise lines options, but that is an option out there for Alaska in 2021 here.
And there are land packages that have always existed in Alaska that people can still look into and try out if that is something they're really interested in this year.
Right. And the last thing I guess to touch on this is the future cruise credits have been extended through September of 2022. And of course, you can always get a refund as well. Any other thoughts on that news story, Christy?
No, but just a note on the future cruise credit. If you had booked it directly through Disney and you want to use a travel agent in the future, you can actually take that future cruise credit to an agent. So, or if you had an agent, but you didn't like them, we're not really trying to take you away from your agent. So just always know that is never our goal. But if something didn't work out between that agent, you can actually, this is this random weird time where you can move your agent. DCL usually only allows you to move bookings within 30 days, but now you can do it further out. You can do it now. So if you had an FCC, the Future Cruise Credit, you can actually take it to another agent.
Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the second news story, Christy.
The second news story, Disney's Magical Express at Walt Disney World is canceled beginning January 1st, 2022. Wah, wah, wah. So that was the included transportation, the free, the no additional charge transportation on the big bus that went from the Orlando International Airport to Walt Disney World. They are not extending that contract. However, Disney Cruise Line's transportation will continue to provide their service. So that service may include a motor coach, a minibus, or a taxi, depending on your party size. It's still $39 per guest, but that was pre-shut down. We don't know what will happen when cruises start traveling again. And you can take that transportation between the airport and the Walt Disney World resorts.
I think the thing that was kind of interesting in that release too, they said that it could include a motor coach, a minibus, or a taxi, depending upon the size of your party. And I mean, one of the things that we enjoyed when our kids were smaller was, being on that bus, you don't need to have the car seat, which was like a huge benefit. So if you're going to be getting into a taxi, I have no idea if Disney Cruise Line is going to be, or if that taxi will be responsible for having a car seat if you do not show up with a car seat. So we'll have to find out about that.
Guessing they're going to look at the age of the guest, and like the Mears taxis in Orlando, there are these taxi buses, and if there's going to be children, all the taxi buses have had car seats. Doesn't mean they're going to have the exact car seat that you would probably have at home or things like, but there are car seats. So I'm guessing they're going to cover that.
Yeah, I think so too. They did leave a number 1-800-951-3532 that you can call. Of course, you can always talk to Disney Cruise Line directly as well. So we're getting some comments. This is kind of cool. Chris is busting on me for making a PALA reservation at a sailing that probably won't sail, and bring on summer 2022 itineraries. Also, our favorite vendor from our Alaska cruise is also offering to organize land vacations for people. So be on the lookout for those, I guess. Okay, so our next news story is that Disney Cruise Line, looking forward into January of 2022, announced that there will be Star Wars and Marvel Days at Sea. So, Christy, what is a Star Wars or Marvel Day at Sea?
So it's basically one day where Disney is highlighting either the Marvel, what is it called?
Characters?
Yes.
Characters? Yeah. The MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There you go. All words. I don't know. Why would you have me explain this? Or Star Wars Day. It literally is like the Star Wars Day at Sea. And I assume this is the same for the Marvel Day at Sea. It's the exact same regular cruise, except for one day. One day they'll play your Marvel music or your Star Wars music. They are going to get you in the spirit. And it's one day where it's all Marvel or all Star Wars. The only other difference of these cruises are that in the movie theaters, they will show more either Marvel movies or more Star Wars movies throughout the cruise.
Yeah, and neither one of us have been on a Marvel Day at Sea or Star Wars Day at Sea. Am I right?
Star Wars Day at Sea.
Okay, you've been on Star Wars. I know Chris has been on Star Wars Day at Sea, and the one thing that we always hear is the Marvel Day at Sea stage show in the evening is pretty amazing, I guess, which that's pretty cool.
I could have been on that Day at Sea cruise and I wouldn't have known about that stage show. You know me, I'm not usually one to be in the crowd to watch a stage show after my bedtime. So.
Yeah, you're in bedtime enjoying a good book in your stateroom there. I want to go back to their second news story, episode 97. We did talk about in one of our DCL 101 series, places to stay before cruising out of Port Canaveral, and we talked about some different ways that we've gotten to the port as well, right, Christy?
Right. So we cover different transportation options. So if you want to learn about your different ways that you can get to your Disney cruise from either the airport or Walt Disney World or an area hotel, we discuss all the different options in that episode.
And episode 140 featured Chris and Seth's Star Wars Day at Sea, which they sailed on last year. So the Disney Magic will be running a 5-night Western Caribbean cruises out of Miami, and the sail dates for the Marvel Day at Sea right now are January 8th, 17th, 22nd, and 31st. Most of these cruises have some different itineraries, so we didn't really want to go through all of those. But if those interest you, go to January for the Magic for Marvel Day at Seas. And then the Disney Fantasy will be departing on 7-night Eastern and Western Caribbean sailing out of Port Canaveral. And the dates are January 8th, 15th, and 22nd for the Eastern and 29th for the Western. So if you're interested in a Marvel Day at Sea, which I know a lot of people are, check out those dates. On to the next one, Christy.
Disney Cruise Line is hiring for positions on its private island. So some of the jobs include island services manager, island safety and security officer, assistant manager, island maintenance, and island recreation manager. So the fine print is you must be legally authorized to work in the Bahamas, and you can find out more by going to www. Steve, why did you put this in? They can figure it out. They can Google it, but go to www.jobs.disneycareers.com and click on abroad or at sea. So let me just say, these jobs, these are the people that live on the island or are commuting to the island, but most of them are living on the island. And I think it's just amazing that Disney has kept that crew and they have continued to do things on the island during the shutdown.
Definitely. And I'm going to give a shout out to Wes over the DCL dude. He did an interview with a lifeguard, a person that was a lifeguard that actually worked on Castaway Cay. And that was a great interview. I do not have the show in front, or the show number in front of me. But if you go over to the DCL Dudes podcast, you can check out his interview with, it was kind of an interesting to see what it was like to actually work on Castaway Cay. So a great interview there. So we are up to our final news story, Christy, and this is the one that's going to go over the top for you, isn't it?
This is the one I was like, Steve, you read this one.
All right. I know that there's some other people out there that go ahead.
It is a very cool story.
So I know that there's a lot of other people out there that are interested in the logistics of cruising, not just, sitting in the hot tub, watching the funnel vision, eating Palo brunch, which I heard is amazing. Somebody
I can't believe you
somewhere.
didn't book that.
Well, as reported by Sea Trade Cruise News, that's a great, if you want to keep up with what's going on in the cruising industry around the world, Sea Trade Cruise News has a great platform, which they put out stuff weekly. But Port Canaveral's custom-built LNG bunker barge arrived this week. So it's the QLNG 4000, a cutting-edge ship-to-ship articulated tug and bunker barge will be used to refuel the Carnival Mardi Gras and the Disney Wish. So Port Canaveral actually becomes the America's first LNG port. And why is LNG important, Christy?
Wait, you didn't tell me I had to answer questions about it, but it's the new fuel that the Wish is going to have and a Carnival cruise is going to have. And actually some countries are saying that you have to have this technology to even cruise within their waters.
Yeah, so especially up in the Baltic, they have very specific restrictions on the type of fuel that the cruise ships can use up there. It's not LNG specific in the Baltic yet, but LNG is a clean fuel. It's less expensive and it's made in the U.S. They say it's going to take about 6 to 8 hours to conduct the ship-to-ship waterside bunkering or refueling. So they're going to pull that barge right up to the Disney Wish or the Carnival Mardi Gras. And as you're getting off or getting on your cruise, and this is what they do normally already, so it's not anything different. But that's when they're going to be refueling the ship. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is actually the LNG fuel distribution facilities up in Elba, Georgia. So they're going to have to haul that. They're going to have to actually sail the barge all the way up to Elba Island, Georgia, to refuel it or to refill it up, then bring it back down to Port Canaveral. It's going to hold over 1 million gallons of fuel, which will be enough fuel to refuel both the Mardi Gras and the Wish if they're in port at the same time. So in addition to this, Port Canaveral also required a new fireboat, which will be operated by the Canaveral Fire and Rescue people to provide enhanced fire protection and response capabilities with this new LNG technology. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Why I didn't want to read that story.
Well, I'll have to say the first cruise we went on was at the Norwegian Jade, and we left out of Venice, Italy. And as we're leaving, going by St. Mark's Square and everything like that, there's this boat coming as fast as it can. We're sitting there on our balcony and I'm looking down, and that was where the door that the pilot gets on and off that brings the ship into and out of the different harbors was right below our balcony. So we watched him jump off and jump in that little boat. And then they went off to back to Venice and we went on our cruise. And I think that just captured my logistics love right there. So yeah.
Oh, you brought that back. I was like, why are we telling this story? Yeah, I find the whole the pilot thing fascinating.
Uh-huh.
where like somebody just jumps on and is involved, and it's at every port and you can see them and then they like watch you leave. I think I don't know. I find it fascinating. I found that news story boring, but I find pilots fascinating.
Well, and I do apologize. We're getting your guys' comments, but it just says Facebook user. So I apologize.
Oh, I can see it on, I think, on Facebook. So would you like me to read any of them?
Well, the one that says the look on Christy's face during the story is priceless.
It'll be so much better. Oh, I don't see that story. I don't see that comment. They've blocked me from seeing it. Yeah, no, that was boring.
All right. Well, I think that's all the news we've got this week. We'd love to hear your we'd love to hear your comments and feedback on this show. We will definitely have a show out by the end of March, even though it is March right now. And if we get enough news stories between now and March and we can fit it in, we'll definitely try to do a weekly or bi-weekly show. And as Christy said at the beginning, no, not bi-weekly. I know
we're not doing weekly. Let's be honest to people.
Yeah, I know. Between your job, our job, or my job, and Chris taking on a new Bambino down there in California, it's tough to bring all of us together. But we will commit to giving you a news recap in March, by the end of March. And we will also, as Christy said at the top of the show, post this audio version only on our show feed as well. So I guess as we get out of here today, Christy, any other thoughts?
No, of course, the construction noise seems to be quiet at the end of our show. So there you go.
What are they building? What are they adding on there? Who knows?
A pool.
A pool. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We look forward to seeing you hopefully later this month in March on a Coffee at the Cove, when hopefully the summer 2022 releases come out, because I know that a lot of people are excited about it. Our family's excited about it, and we can't wait to see what they come out with. So thanks again for tuning in and taking a listen, and we'll see you next time on the DCL Newscast or on our podcast as well. Right, Christy?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks
Goodbye.
for listening.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.